Apple just quietly confirmed that the iPhone 18 Pro is getting some of the biggest camera hardware upgrades in the lineup's history. That's a Mark Gurman quote from Bloomberg. And he didn't add a single detail, which is either the most exciting thing Apple's done in years or the most aggressive piece of hype since they called removing the headphone jack an act of courage. So today we're breaking down everything we actually know, and the variable aperture, the telephoto upgrade, the new sensor roadmap, and then we're going to answer the question nobody's asking loudly enough. Should you even buy the iPhone 18 Pro, or is the iPhone Ultra the real move this fall? And there's one specific thing about the Ultra that I think is going to shock a lot of people. We'll get there. Here's the situation. Apple is launching 3 flagship iPhones this September: the iPhone 18 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, and for the first time ever, the iPhone Ultra, Apple's first foldable. 2 very different phones, 2 very different buying decisions. And based on everything that's leaked so far, this is going to be the most complicated iPhone upgrade cycle in years. I've spent the last few days going deep on every credible leak: Gurman, Ming-Chi, digital chat station, the dummy unit comparisons, and I've got a clear take on which one you should actually buy. But first, the cameras, because that's where this year's story really starts. Okay, so here's something most people don't realize about every Pro iPhone ever made. From the iPhone 14 Pro all the way through the iPhone 17 Pro, the main camera has used a completely fixed aperture, f1.78. That lens is wide open all the time, whether you're shooting in bright noon sunlight or a dark restaurant. It doesn't change. Your phone just compensates with software. That changes with the iPhone 18 Pro. The main camera is getting variable aperture, which means the lens physically adjusts how open it is depending on the light. Open wider in the dark to pull in more light. Close down in bright conditions to prevent overexposure. And here's the part that actually matters for photographers. You get real optical control over depth of field. Right now, all that buttery background blur on your iPhone portraits, software, computational photography doing heavy lifting with variable aperture, some of that becomes genuinely optical, like a real camera. Now, Samsung and other Android manufacturers have been doing this for a while on some models. Apple just never went there until now. And when Apple does something, they tend to do it in a way that actually works at scale. Multiple leakers with strong track records, Ming-Chi digital chat station, have confirmed this is coming to both the 18 Pro and 18 Pro Max, not just the bigger model. That's the first big camera story, but it's not the only one. The iPhone 17 Pro was actually a meaningful telephoto upgrade, 48 megapixels, 8 times optical zoom. It was legitimately good, but there was one quiet problem that nobody talked about. Night zoom. Try zooming in on something in low light and the iPhone's telephoto struggles. It gets noisy, soft, the kind of photo you don't post. The reason: the telephoto camera on the iPhone 17 Pro has an f2.8 aperture. That's a smaller opening than the main camera, which means less light, which means more noise in challenging conditions. The iPhone 18 Pro is reportedly getting a larger aperture telephoto lens, exclusive to the Pro models, which means brighter, sharper, cleaner zoom shots in less than ideal conditions. And here's what's interesting, and this one's staying on the Pro side only. The iPhone Ultra, which we'll get to, doesn't have a telephoto camera at all. That's going to be important in about 2 minutes. Hang on. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting and slightly frustrating depending on how you look at it. Leaker Digital Chat Station, who has a genuinely strong track record on Apple hardware, laid out what he calls Apple's 4-part camera upgrade plan. Variable aperture this year, then in future iPhones, a significantly larger main sensor at 1/1.12 inches. For context, the iPhone 17 Pro uses a 1 over 1.28 inch sensor. That new sensor would deliver meaningful gains in low light performance, dynamic range, and noise reduction. After that, a 200 megapixel periscope telephoto lens is apparently being studied, and an upgraded ultra wide is in the works too. Now, the key word there is future. None of that sensor upgrade or 200 megapixel telephoto is confirmed for the iPhone 18 Pro. That roadmap is for the years beyond this fall, which honestly feels very Apple. Give you something great this year, then hold the other great thing for next year and the year after. It's a subscription model, but for hardware upgrades, and it is extremely effective. So the iPhone 18 Pro camera story is real, and it is the biggest hardware camera jump in years, but it is also knowingly the beginning of a longer journey. Now, let's talk about the other phone. The iPhone Ultra is Apple's first foldable iPhone, and I want you to understand what it actually is, not what you're imagining. This is not the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold. It doesn't open up into a squarish shape. Apple went in a completely different direction. When it's closed, the outer display is roughly 5.3 to 5.5 inches, which is actually kind of hilariously small by 2026 standards. It looks almost comical sitting next to the 18 Pro Max in leaked dummy comparisons, but here's why that choice makes total sense, because when you open it, you get a 7.8-inch inner display with a near 4:3 aspect ratio, the same proportions as an iPad mini. Apple basically designed a phone that unfolds into a small iPad. And the inner display is reportedly crease-free, which is a legitimate breakthrough for foldable tech. The design borrows from the iPhone Air, titanium border, ultra thin when unfolded. Rumors say only black and white color options, and it won't be part of the iPhone 18 lineup officially. It'll sit above it the same way iPhone Air exists separate from the iPhone 17 series. So you're essentially looking at Apple's most expensive iPhone ever, probably significantly more expensive than the 18 Pro Max. And it has two cameras. Okay, so here's the thing. These two phones are not really competing with each other. They're not going after the same buyer. And once you understand that, the decision gets way simpler. Let's go through the three biggest differences. Number one, form factor. The 18 Pro is the iPhone you already know, same overall design as its predecessor, smaller dynamic island, slightly thicker camera module. Leaked dummy units show both the camera plateau and the lenses protruding a bit more than the 17 Pro Max, which is entirely because of those camera upgrades. You'll barely notice it in hand. The Ultra folds, that's the whole thing. If you've ever wanted a small phone that opens into something tablet-sized, this is it. If that doesn't appeal to you, you just saved yourself a very large amount of money. Number two, cameras. iPhone 18 Pro gets the full treatment. Variable aperture on main, larger aperture telephoto, 3 rear lenses, full zoom capabilities. The iPhone Ultra, 2 cameras, no telephoto. Users who choose the Ultra over the Pro are giving up zoom entirely. That's not a knock, and it's a trade-off Apple made to keep the foldable mechanism thin and functional, but it's a real sacrifice. And for anyone who actually uses zoom at concerts, at sporting events, for portraits from across the room, that matters. Number three, performance. Both phones get the same 20 Pro chip, same chip. But here's the twist. The iPhone 18 Pro has aluminum construction and a vapor chamber for thermal management. That same combo gave the iPhone 17 Pro better sustained performance than any previous iPhone. When things get intense, gaming, video processing, AI tasks in the sun, the Pro stays cool. The Ultra has a titanium build, which is elegant, but it's not expected to have a vapor chamber. So you could have two phones with the same chip and the Pro will likely outperform the Ultra when things get thermally demanding. Paying more to get less chip performance on the most expensive iPhone ever. That's a sentence I need a moment with. So here's the actual verdict, and I'm going to be direct about this. For the vast majority of people, the iPhone 18 Pro or Pro Max is the right call this fall, no hesitation. The camera upgrades are genuinely the most significant in years. Variable aperture is a hardware leap that changes how this camera works fundamentally. Well, not a software trick, not an AI filter, real glass, moving, adjusting. That combined with the telephoto upgrade means the 18 Pro camera system is going to be a legitimate step above anything Apple's shipped before. And you get 3 cameras: MagSafe, a vapor chamber, the full Pro experience in a form factor you already know how to use. The iPhone Ultra is for a very specific person, someone who genuinely wants a phone that becomes a mini tablet, someone who travels with an iPad and an iPhone and has always thought, why am I carrying 2 devices? That person exists. That person might be you. But if you're upgrading from an iPhone 15 Pro or 16 Pro and you're excited about the camera stuff, and the Ultra is not the upgrade you're thinking about. The Ultra is a different product category with a premium price tag and some real engineering trade-offs baked in. The camera, for one, takes a step back compared to the Pro, and in a year when the Pro camera is supposedly having its biggest moment ever, that trade feels hard to justify. Gurman called the iPhone 18 Pro camera upgrades some of the biggest hardware upgrades in the lineup's history. Strong words from a guy who doesn't deal in hype. I believe him. And I'm genuinely curious to find out if the reality lives up to it. Because if it does, the iPhone 18 Pro might be the first iPhone in 3 years that actually deserves the upgrade without an asterisk. What do you think? Is variable aperture a real game changer, or just the next thing Apple's going to quietly perfect over 3 generations? Let me know below. I read them. See you next video. Peace out.